Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Fords Pro League. You guys asked for more FPL, and this is the first video for season number 6. We're kicking things off with Team Bada versus Team Cannon Express, where here we have on the right-hand side, Team Cannon Express OG and Though 15 Rider are playing as the Seep Commander. The commander meant for missiles and all things rockets. Well, that pretty much gives away the strategy they're going for. The question is only which iteration, which implementation, for there are a couple, as it looks like we have a bit of a sniper duel, as Bada Man trades with OG for their sniping. Team Bada on the left-hand side are playing as the Armadillo Commander. Armadillo gets cheaper metal, among other defensive bonuses, so they're looking to go late game, so they can out-attrition their opponents in, well, the battle for more damage dealt. We'll see which team comes out on top here. Now, as fun as Bada Man's name is to say, Team Canada Express is a bit of a known quantity. Not only have they participated in, well, previous FPL seasons, individual players and also as a team have participated in other Forts competitions and tournaments throughout the years. So I'm interested to see how they're going to perform in this season compared to relatively unfamiliar teams like Team Bada. Now, Cannon Express isn't going cannons this time. They're going for missiles, and it looks like the iteration they're going for is going to be portal missiles with some support to go with it. So Though 15 Rider on the top fort here, well, they may not have revealed that they are the Seep Commander, so their Team Bada their opponents, may not recognize exactly what they're doing, but we have all the inside knowledge. We can see inside the forts, and we know that there's going to be 4, or potentially just 3, swarm missiles placed above those turbines, or placed above those mines, and portaled out across the world. Whereas down here, OG is just going to be playing Team Tank, aggro management, and generally trying to keep things stable and make sure that those missiles get across the board to do the real damage. On the other side here, Team Bada Man is, well, they're going for lasers as also his teammate. So we're going to see a lot of laser fire versus what's likely to be laser fire, supported by, well, supporting a whole heap load of nuclear missiles. We'll see how this goes. Now, to start out, Bada Man's getting a little bit of aggressive posturing here. He's using a buzzsaw to chop away at those turbine defenses. Not a lot of damage here, and there's no follow-up, so we're not talking about anything critical. This is more meant to assert dominance, gain some map control, and force OG out of his comfort zone to make him keep his defenses on, well put together, generally keeping the players honest. I approve of such things, making sure no one's going for anything super cheesy. At this point, however, Though 15 Rider and Cannon Express in general has shown off their strategy, and that is to say, these swarm missiles are exposed and visible for everyone to see, so Team Bada will now have to react to this if they haven't already figured out what's going on. I'm not seeing any exceptional hard counter-style reaction to it. Not that I would expect such a thing, but if there is going to be a hard reaction to it, now would be the time. Typically, when you see this kind of swarm missile portal nuke experience, you know that there's going to be a substantial delay between when it's revealed to when the actual threat arrives. These portal missiles, they're not meant to be fast, they're meant to hit hard after a long period of time. It takes a lot of economy to sustain the portals required, not to mention the actual quantity of missiles that come vomiting out of the fort. But it also takes time to build up the economy necessary to sustain that. So the first step is build the economy. You get your turbines, you get your mines upgraded, which has already happened, and then you get your quad missile batteries placed and upgrade to it, which takes even more time. And we still don't even see the necessary investment in the turbines required to power the portal. So there is still time for Team Bada before those big wing sucker punches of missiles come flying out. So it isn't a surprise to me to see Team Bada not hastily make any decisions here, though we are starting to see a gradual investment in defenses. Now, when it comes to timing of things, Team Bada is a little bit behind Canada Clock. They're running Fire Beam, Plasma Beam, and both going lasers, so energy shields can completely shut them down. But Fire Beam Plasma Beam is quite dangerous, and should Team Cannon Express present any weakness, well, it could just end the game immediately. My question then will be, how do they actually execute this? Do they attempt to focus fire into the same opponents? Looks like the doors and positions of the weaponry for Team Bada Being indicates they're willing to do this. I believe that's exactly what they're doing. Do they align their shots? Come on, you can do it. And they do. Perfectly placed. Armor opened up by Bada Man and core executed by his teammate. Now this puts Team Cannon Express in effectively a stalemate scenario. OG for Team Cannon Express was relying on the 15 Rider to do the damage. OG has elected to avoid building any real weapons that could actually end the game. He's fully support. So right now OG just isn't a threat to his opponents at all. And while he knows that both of them are going for lasers and he can rely on those energy shields to keep him alive, doing so just means that he's not going to have any income for the purposes of actually doing, well, anything. So he can't just throw down energy shields and expect to survive here, as doing so would destroy his own economy to the point where Team Bada Being can do whatever they want, including, but not limited to, build weapons that defeat energy shields. So this puts OG in effectively a checkmate scenario. The question will be, how many points, how much damage does he deal on his way out? I don't want to say, or at least I always feel a bit uncomfortable writing someone or a player out of the round, but this is pretty grim. We do see OG investing in additional energy shields. You see one at the foundation, one covering the core from above shots from high angle from the upper fort, as well as his energy production. And we'll see how long he lasts here under the withering fire of plasmas and fire beams. Now, in Forts Pro League Season 6, the co-op on death is not enabled. That means once the 15 Riders core has been destroyed, as it has now, OG will not gain the assistance and the APM boost of having a teammate join him. So it is truly a 1 versus 2 here in round 1 in this matchup. Now at this point, I do expect Team Bada Being to invest into additional stuff. We see turbines being developed for both sides or both players. Would also expect some anti-energy shields. I don't see the tech necessary for it on the bottom fort. The top fort does have the armory tech, which can produce EMP as an option for shutting down those energy shields. However, I don't see an investment into energy shields, and I don't know if that's because Team Bada Being is hoping that Cannon Express, or rather OG, is going to get a little greedy with their energy shield placements and leave a hole, or if they just expect that they just can finish it by some other means. Maybe they just aren't thinking about it. That is potentially the scenario. After all, they have all the time in the world, and the longer the match goes on, the more ahead Team Bada Being gets. There is no time limit on the Forts Pro League matches, so we can simply let the time run, get further ahead, and end the game at their leisure when it is most beneficial to them. As we see door sniping happening. Though at this rate, door sniping may not be necessary for Team Bada Being, as there's simply enough plasma beams, enough plasma lasers on the board that they can fully penetrate and break through the doors. As we see, there are no more doors on this location where the fire beam once was, despite the fire beam already being destroyed via door snipe. OG, on the other hand, near exclusively relies on door snipes to get any damage done, as he has a single plasma beam for the purposes of dealing damage. Ooh. Another door snipe. OG tries to door snipe Bada Man, but Bada Man fires back and takes out OG's plasma, and that leaves OG without a plasma weapon. no actual damage on the board. OG's in a rough position. And, well, I've mentioned it before, he was already in a rough position, and it's all going downhill from here. As we have 2 more plasmas for Bada Man, one of them just finishing up now. An extra buzzsaw for his teammate. It's worth noting this teammate did go for the workshop, which can enable mortars as well as swarm missiles. I suspect swarm missiles will be the option. Though he has also developed some buzzsaws. Buzzsaws are another option enabled by the workshop. But buzzsaws don't do anything against energy shields. I think he's just built it because it's relatively cheap, applies a decent amount of pressure. There are the swarm missiles. Swarm missiles and lasers are a classic combo. Very, very effective when used together. Highly synergistic weapons, so this is exactly what I'm expecting to see. Also, in this map, like most hanging maps, the swarm missiles can be placed above the mines without sacrificing any mine space. Is one of the few maps, well, one of the few map styles, fort styles I should say, that enables this particular feature. And so swarm missiles, which are generally balanced around requiring the replacement of a mine, simply are more powerful than would be expected to come out of a fort. You know, if you don't have to pay the downside of sacrificing a mine to get them, then, well, you have this very powerful tool. Looks like OG is looking to try to deal a little bit more damage by using rockets. Rockets, well, they're not as expensive to place and wield as the laser weaponry, so that's not a surprise to see a little bit of weapons on the board, but to do so requires a substantial amount of map control, which OG simply does not have at this point. However, Team Bada Bing is not focusing on map control right now, so there's an opportunity, a chance for OG to get some damage done in here just by surprise tech switch. You thought I was hitting you with laser beams. Well, joke's on you, I'm flooding the world with rockets. And well, that's something I would expect Team Bada Bing to handle quite easily over an extended period of time. For the initial Alpha Strike, it may simply deal some real damage. All OG has to do is clear the select few machine gunners, which are clearly visible and presented at the front of Bada Man's fort. And then he can get some clean hits into his direct opponent. We'll see what kind of damage he can do before his opponents manage to get the 1-2 punch of the anti-energy shield nuclear option. And we do see a sniper coming out for OG, which is completing momentarily and should be able to eliminate... Oh, and it gets sniped before it even completes construction. That is unfortunate. Rockets fire. Without the sniper to cover for them and to at least clear out those machine gunners, the rockets just don't make it across. The EMP shuts down all the machine gunners, and now the rockets can fly mostly free across. They get some damage done, but it's not nearly enough. And with that, OG goes down. Round 1 goes to Team Bada Bing. And we're off to round 2. We're on Vanilla 2v2. Where the sides are swapped. Here on the left-hand side, it is Team Cannon Express, getting executed by a beautifully timed synergistic sniping of laser weaponry. Cannon Express has now swapped on over to the Overdrive Commander. Overdrive Commander, the premium in economic boosting options. Gains bonuses to upgrades as well as a few other economic eccentricities, such as the upgrade center being enabled for use as a tier 1 tech, and a flat bonus to income during their commander active ability. It looks like Cannon Express is actually losing the sniper duel here, as both snipers for Team Cannon Express have been executed by Team Bada Bing. On the right-hand side, winning their last round against their opponents, Team Bada has gone with the Hurricane Commander. The Hurricane Commander is a fun one. It's very simple. It increases rate of fire for machine gunners, it increases rate of fire, or at least reload speed, for all weapons during their commander active ability. If you like projectiles or just simply dumping a lot of damage on your opponents in rapid succession, the Hurricane Commander is your premium choice of option. Oh, that hurts. OG loses a turbine to the pair of snipers for Team Bada, whereas Team Bada is just going for a bold and out there strategy. They're not even bothering to hide what they're doing, they're just getting heavy weapons and at a good timing and looking to bash their opponents. A standard style heavy weapons rush. Cannon Express, on the other hand, is... I'm not entirely sure what their strategy is. Now, when it comes to Overdrive, most Overdrive builds are very samey at the beginning, as you start with the upgrade center and then you go into upgrades and you react to your opponents by, well, just getting whatever weapons that you want a little bit later than your opponents, but you are happy to do that because you can just expend the extra money. Just eat the costs of not firing first because you're Overdrive. And eventually you just outscale your opponents by virtue of having earlier upgrades or cheaper upgrades and a better economy. Team Bada is pretty much the antithesis of that general idea. Bada Man, as you can see here, doesn't even have his final mine in its forwardmost slot, is instead putting that money into getting weapons. They're going to get weapons, and they're going to blast Cannon Express out of... That was a beautiful snipe. That's Though 15 Rider just sniping that EMP rocket out of the air. Welcome to Forts. Here we see Bada Man using his buzzsaw to keep OG honest. I appreciate this kind of thing, though he did do a lot more damage than I anticipated. The last volley managed to wipe out OG's turbine platform and take a couple turbines with it. OG is actually going for shotguns. Okay. So that was not a hallucination. That he is actually just going for shotguns. Now, shotguns are... They're not a real weapon, I'm going to describe them as. They are capable of dealing damage to exposed things, might even blow the door off of something if you stack enough of them. But really, their whole job is as a defensive option. They're great for knocking howitzers, shells out of the air, great for anti-air generally, and more importantly, they're great for suppressing anti-air. So you see shotguns a lot when you're going for things that can be taken out by machine gunners. Let's say if you're going for howitzers, it isn't unusual to have either a shotgun yourself or a teammate with shotguns, which can suppress the opponent's anti-air to enable your howitzer to get across the board. Same kind of thing with rockets, missiles, or any of the destructible projectile weaponry. So because OG is going for these, I'm going to assume that we're going to see a howitzer out of the 15 Rider. But a howitzer is a bit late compared to the damage output that we're expecting to see from Team Bada. Now, that damage output, of course, is going to be blunted a bit by Bada Man losing his plasma, as he lost that real early due to, mostly his own greed, as he placed it there without any defenses, but he was unable to keep it alive off the back of multiple shotguns and an AP sniper plinking away at it. It's not a surprise. But in the upper fort we have a cannon, and a second one already on the way. So that damage output is going to ramp up quite quickly, as OG is unfortunately experiencing, as he's losing even more turbines. And much to my surprise, though 15 Rider did not place a howitzer first. I'm still convinced that he intends to build a howitzer. I don't know if he messed up his build and decided to get a cannon down until he can fix his build, or if that was the plan to begin with, just go a lot of cannons. I still think he wants to go howitzer here, because otherwise those shotguns, or at least the last remaining shotgun, is for defense and defense only, which... You know what? Fair enough. If you want to have someone go a giant stack of cannons while the other player goes for nothing but support, so be it. I'm not exactly sure. Are they really doing this? So this is something I haven't seen in a while. It's shotguns into rockets. I haven't seen this in like 2 years. Where the idea is you have one player go this kind of early game aggression, shotguns, rockets, force your opponents into reacting to the early game player, while the second player, the hard carry, I guess, just goes for massive damage and attempts to end the game by virtue of dealing massive damage. Oh, that's gonna slow OG down incredibly. Maybe that's what's going on. OG had plans, but he got blasted. His turbines got blasted too many times, and now he's just kind of, I'm going to say, just doing what he can. That's painful. Those energy shields are not cheap to replace. Rockets land. Bada Man taking those rockets directly to the face. It's classic. Though 15 Riders core knocked down to 83%. But yeah, it's a little late for this kind of rocket play. If you're going to do this kind of attention grabby thing, you need to increase and ramp up the pressure from pretty early on. Enough to cripple your opponent's ability to get weapons out in the first place. Because if your opponents are getting the heavy weapons out at the same time as your quote-unquote or harder carry, your main damage dealer, then you haven't given an advantage to your teammate. And at this point, OG just doesn't have the weaponry to keep up with his opponents yet, and he agrees. He's selling out of his rockets and shotguns, and he's developing a heavy weapons tech, specifically the laser production facility. It'll take him a while to get there, but he's gonna be developing heavier weapons himself. On the other side, Bada Man has taken some damage. He's only got 1 plasma, as opposed to the multiple he would have had if it weren't for OG's interruptions. But on the other side, his teammate on the top fort has 3 cannons, compared to Though 15 Rider, who only has 2 active cannons right now. And this is despite Though 15 Rider having a clean and clear path to progress without any interruption. Whereas Team Bada has had to deal with what little that OG was able to actually field in terms of aggression. That just puts Team Bada pretty firmly in the lead here. The only other advantage that Team Cannon Express has here is that they are overdrive and that they have survived Hurricane's opening volleys, but there's another door snipe. And though 15 Rider loses a cannon, putting him even further behind his opponents, Team Cannon Express is just falling behind here. Now, I say that, but Team Cannon Express does have a better economy, and you say OG here is upgrading the last of his 2 mines, so he will go up to a maximum possible economy available on this map. Whereas his opponents, Team Bada haven't even placed their final mine in the forwardmost position, let alone started upgrades. They don't have an upgrade center, so they're some time away from upgrades to begin with. While they are currently in the lead in terms of things placed, if this game goes on for another 5 minutes, that may simply change by virtue of Team Cannon Express having about twice the economy. So it is just a matter of Team Cannon Express surviving the onslaught of damage from Team Bada. Now, at this point, Team Bada is just kind of firing indiscriminately, which is mostly the right thing to do. You just want to get damage on the board, put your opponents into a death spiral and see what you can do, force them to do something about it. At this point, Team OG is just kind of face tanking it and kind of sort of doing it well enough. They are technically making progress while tanking these shots, so they are doing okay. They've stabilized. I would put them behind the current state of things, but honestly, momentum, I believe, is in their favor. their rate of progress is just a little bit faster than Bada Bing. They're getting more weapons down, they're getting more defenses grown. Oh! But as it stands right now, Team Bada Bing just has more weapons currently active. And they're letting Team Cannon Express know that Bada Bing's got initiative, and, well, they just took out one of Cannon Express's plasmas. Now, this is what I was talking about economic advantage. They lost a plasma, and he's just immediately replaced it, because he can afford to lose a plasma. And that's not the position you want to be in if you're Team Bada Bing. You don't want to take out a weapon and have it immediately replaced without hesitation. Because that just means that your opponents aren't taking enough damage. So Team Bada Bing needs to focus their fire or get some deeper shots in to force some real critical damage afflicted upon Team Cannon Express. Additionally, or should I say alternatively, they need to expand their own economy so they can keep up with the rate of progress of Team Cannon Express. That way they can afford to build more weaponry, outscale their opponents, because they currently have the advantage, as it were. And there goes another weapon for OG. OG loses another fire beam. Oh, internal explosions. Fire left unchecked. We have batteries rampaging through Banaban's base. That's going to be a hefty repair bill. But his own stability tech keeps him from collapsing, so he doesn't immediately fail. As we have more cannon shells exchanged with little to no consequence. The cannons are flying. There's a focus fire. That doesn't penetrate the defense. Oh, that was close. That was so extremely close. If that had been just a few pixels down, we might have seen the 15 rider getting sniped again. That was very, very close. Team Cannon Express cannot allow that to happen if they want to stay in this. They need to continue tanking these hits cost efficiently, and we're not convinced. It is technically cost efficiently, but holy smokes, was that close to being the end for the 15 rider. As there we have the first real retaliation. Canada Express takes out a fire beam for Team Bada Bing. It's worth noting that during this, Team Bada Bing is investing in their economy. We see that final mine placed for Banaban Man, his teammate. It's upgraded half of his mine, so they're starting to close the income gap. But even then, it has been about 5 minutes since the last day I gave that 5-minute mark, and things are evening up, and you can see that evening here in the amount of weapons. We have 3 cannons active for both players in the top forts, and in the bottom forts we have 2 plasmas for each player, as well as a fire beam. So the weapons are starting to even out now. Team Bada Bing just hasn't managed to deal enough damage output to keep Cannon Express in the death spiral, and they're clawing their way back to an even game state here. And well, if all things are even, except for, well, one team having a stronger eco, that puts the stronger eco at the advantage. So I think right about now-ish, I would consider Canada Express. Oh, well, just as I was about to say, Canada Express is starting to claim the advantage here. They just took another hit, another door snipe, and suddenly Canada Express is down 2 more weapons. That's not the world you want to live in, unless you're Team Bada Bing. More cannons fly. A little bit more chip damage done to Rider's core. I will say this, the focus fire, there's moments of focus fire from Team Bada Bing that are just, oh, is that it? Massive damage. It all comes crumbling down. A door snipe into a cannon drop. Bada Bing is down to one player. And Bada Man, while he's got some decent damage output, doesn't have nearly the firepower of his teammate. Team Cannon Express is just going to be able to handle him without substantial problems at all. OG loses another plasma beam to door snipes. Bada Man has been on the spot with his door snipes today. This is brutal. OG is completely defanged. He has no more offensive weapons currently available. He does have 3 plasma beams in production simultaneously, if just to show his economic advantage here. I mean, come on. 3 of them at the same time. I mean, what else is he gonna do with his money? Bada Man loses his first plasma to a cannon from on high. One thing I love here is that the 15 rider is adding in these mortars. These mortars are going to be the death toll for Team Bada being here in this round, as that's an untenable amount of damage. Mortars are constant, persistent, relentless, and extremely cost efficient from their energy to damage ratio, as well as pretty top-end DPS. So Bada Man cannot ignore those mortars, as they alone will grind him out of the game. But attempting to spend on defending against those mortars is expensive, and as you can see, he's already run out of money. He can't repair what he currently possesses, let alone the additional damage of heavy weapons and those mortars. So this is looking like he's about to get taken out of this game. The question now is, what will get the final hit here? Which player for Team Cannon Express ends it? And with what weapon? Because there's quite the option. Those cannons. Just keeping the base trimmed. One machine gunner doing great work. Looks like OG's trying to take out Bada Man's foundations. He's got them well defended with an extremely well-placed energy shield. What I like here is Bada Man is building a nuke. It's technically not hidden, though I'm not convinced the opponents have seen it, because they're not reacting to it, not really. If he gets this across, he could deal some real damage. I don't see a position where it could end the game. But I would love to see what kind of damage he could do on his way out. Okay, we do see Cannon Express now reacting to that quite nicely. He's got extra flak, extra machine gunners. I find it extremely unlikely that nuke is going to make it across. Every time, they keep sending those directly into the energy shields. Oof. And it's cannon time. The mortars are landing. The core takes damage. Yeah, it's getting closer. This Bada Man just keeps taking hit after hit. Down to 69%. There's not much left, but he does get a door snipe. And in doing so, he takes out even more HP from OG's core. But at the end, we get to see the final moments of Bada Man's base here in round 2 in this best of 3. Come on, you can get that shot off. Just one spite, nuke. You can do it. One spite. Oh, they know where the sniper is. 7% in a dream. He's got one mine. Core completely exposed. Nuke. Oh, he doesn't have the energy to fire it. No! Here come the mortars. And there's the end. Cannon Express wins round 2 and takes this to game 3 in this matchup. And we're off to the decider, the third round in this best of 3 between Team Bada Bing and Cannon Express. Some very different commander choices this time, as Bada Bing has gone with the Moonshine commander. Bonus to energy shields and other EMP effects, whereas Team Cannon Express is going with the Armadillo commander. Armadillo is another late game style commander that likes to use their upgrade centers and massive economy to wield a war of attrition against their opponents. So that is a running theme here so far with Team Cannon Express. We'll get to see how this works out. I want to take this moment, if there's a lull in the action, to remind you guys to hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button. So we got more content like this coming out every single week, multiple times a week. And as this is the first episode, the first video in the Forts Pro League Season 6, well, there's a lot more coming. And I'm looking forward to it. It looks like Bada Man just sold off his sniper. He just... Okay, I guess Team Bada Bing concedes the sniper duel phase of the round. Kind of surprised as they were doing such good psychological damage in the earlier iterations, the earlier rounds, even getting a couple turbines among other things. I like what Bada Bing's been doing. They've been keeping their opponents honest. Now, in terms of strategy, Bada Bing has been going with pretty standard heavy weapons rushes and just taking some pretty heavy hits, heavy swings at their opponents. And have thus far been doing pretty alright with it. The last round, Team Cannon Express was able to survive. What is it you're doing here? Ah, I see. Real fancy stuff. You know what? If you've got the APM to spare, who am I to judge? He's trying to sell off, he's trying to eat his cake and still have it. He sold off the metal in front of his fort, which renders him vulnerable to many things, and he's resolved that issue by adding some sandbags horizontally placed. This is not something I see basically ever. This is more of a fun thing to do in theory that I don't think I've ever seen in the Forts Pro League, or any tournament, for that matter. But there it is. Bada Man showing off his fort's architectural capabilities, and I'm all here for it. Those sandbags will keep Bada Man safe from direct cheeses and surprise attacks without having to spend the income or money on metal. I approve. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be double laser rush out of Team Bada Bing. I suspect we're going to see a similar strategy out of Cannon Express they did in the to that which they did in the first round. Namely, Ryder is going to be going predominantly support, and OG is going to be going a heavy late game missile launcher. Though this time Ryder isn't going with shotguns. He's going straight laser weaponry. I suspect several fire beams will be involved. Whereas Team Bada Bing, I mean, they've just got plasmas, fire beam, plasma beam, and they're just gonna hit their opponents really hard. Now, last time Ryder was, sorry, OG was the target. Was it OG? No, I think it was Ryder was the target, and Ryder was also the missile launch. Was the missile launcher for it. I suspect Ryder will once again be the target for different reasons, just because law of proximity things. Wait, is that true? Oh. No, I think it's gonna be OG again. The doors on Team Bada Bing's forts indicate that Bada Man can aim at any target, whereas his teammate can only really aim directly across. So we may see OG tanking 2 alpha strikes, the combined firepower of the entirety of Team Bada Bing. We'll see how deep those cuts and if they manage to pull it off here. It is a surprise to me to see Team Bada going with the Moonshine Commander while playing dedicated lasers. Oh, they just do it again. They just do the exact same thing again. And it works. Okay. That's incredibly well aimed. Team Bada just wipes out Cannon Express. OG is gone. Now, one major difference to this round from the previous time they did the same thing. This time, Team Cannon Express does actually keep their main damage dealing option. That is to say, their swarm missiles and nukes are still accessible to Ryder, the final remaining player for Team Cannon Express. So he's not out of the game just yet. He does, however, need to finish developing the launch platform, as it requires portals, and it's going to require additional energy production. This also means that Ryder's basically going to have to swap. He's going to basically have to just devote his entire economy into defending this position, and well, keeping this attachment alive, which is a very difficult and cost inefficient thing to do, as he is, I'm sure, experiencing. That's not good for Team Cannon Express. Wow. As I was saying, I'm surprised to see Moonshine used here for Team Bada if they're going for this strategy. Just because there's no strong benefit to lasers if you're using Moonshine. And if you're going lasers, then why not use a different commander? But hey, you know, energy shield doors, they're pretty good. Hard to go wrong with them. So at this point we see Team Cannon Express developing the additional economy necessary to fund the weaponry, the reclaimed weaponry. Now, unlike round 1, Team Cannon Express is not out of the game. They have their weapons. The strategy is still, at least for the moment, largely intact. It's just much more difficult and expensive to pull off. So they can still put themselves into a position where they can win the game. It's not even that extraordinary to do so. It's just going to be difficult, and Team Bada have, well, they've shown that they're more than capable of winning time and again, even in just these matchups here. Now, Cannon Express, or should I say Ryder, as co-op on Death, is not a feature here in Season 6. Ryder is doing, I believe, the right thing and just covering himself in energy shields. As much as this will hamper him immensely, it'll keep him alive, and it will force Bada to tech switch or do something else to break through. And that's going to give him time, and time is what he needs to get his own economy and build in order and operational. Yeah, so he's completely covered. 3 energy shields here, 3 energy shields here, energy shields here. There's really nowhere that he can be damaged, which causes a substantial impact. As he gets disconnected here and then immediately obliterated by laser fire. He needs to stop that disconnect from happening, which he can do by putting an energy shield here. And that should shut it down, unless we see an extrusion down from Team Bada. At least once that energy shield comes online. There it is. There it goes. So now at this point, Team Bada needs to swap things up. They need a tech switch. They need additional options. We see a couple options being built right now. The first are these EMP launchers. This will shut down energy shields. The second are these swarm launchers. These will take longer to come online, but they are extremely effective. Now, these EMPs are online right now. And Cannon Express, or should I say Rider, needs to have anti-air on the board right now, or these shields are getting shut down, and then he's going to be put right back into the situation he was a couple minutes ago when he lost his teammate, where he's going to have to scramble to defend these exterior positions, or he's going to lose them. And if he loses them, well, he loses any real chance he has at a comeback in this game. There's a hit, and in come the follow-ups. But is it enough? That's a lot of fire, and that's a lot of damage, but it maintains. Now, he is going to have to replace most of those turbines, otherwise he's going to suffer the wrath of not having enough energy to actually do anything. But he maintains the integrity of his base, and with it, he stays, his hopes and dreams are intact, even if everything is on fire. Like, actually, just kind of everything is on fire, and he needs to resolve that very quickly. That's a nasty EMP deep in there. So very close to taking out all those mines and maybe some of those missile launchers. There he goes. He's holding together, he's staying firm, but he doesn't have the anti-air necessary to prevent the onslaught. And as we see with the reveal of the shotgun, that shotgun's going to do a lot of work towards suppressing any anti-air that Rider can bring to the board. And we see one machine gunner come online. This will impact his ability to... And there we have it. The first round of EMPs are knocked out of the sky. This will give Rider some opportunities, some brief window to rebuild. But that window timing is closing as the swarm missiles and nukes are coming online for Team Bada Bing. And one machine gunner, one flak, and an AP sniper may be enough to shut down the EMPs. It will certainly not be nearly enough to shut down the cluster of missiles about to fly toward his base. All the while this is happening, Rider has been developing his plasmas. This will enable him to take out some weaponry, or at least punch through the defenses of Bada Bing, get some damage done, potentially cause some delays into progress, but it may be too little too late. Those plasmas are going to have to play an anti-air role here. I don't even know that they have an angle for this. He tries to face tank it, and it costs him his energy shields. And without the energy shields, the lasers are punching clean through. We're seeing some serious deformation out of Rider's base. Fires burning through everything, causing secondary explosions and detonations throughout. A couple machine gunners survive, but they're unable to keep the skies clear, as more EMPs land and the fire's still rampaging through his fort. And it's only a matter of time before those missiles reload and come in for another round. But this time, there are no more energy shields to keep Rider safe from those plasmas, from those lasers in general. And without those energy shields, there's just so much laser fire. Rider is going to get penetrated here. His core is directly exposed and in danger. Swing and a miss. The plasma doesn't get the kill shot, but his defenses have been penetrated. At this point, Rider needs to apply pressure to stop Bada Bing from running away with this game. And in order to do that, he needs to either fire his plasmas or get his own missile weapons online. And his missile weapons just aren't ready to fire. They need to be... They just aren't constructed yet. They still require their exit portals. They still require the missile launch system. And that's... Oh, that's a huge chunk. And that's it. It all comes crumbling down. In a dramatic final round between these two teams, Team Bada Bing wins it. That was close. It was a lot closer than I expected it to be. But congratulations to Team Bada Bing winning 2-1 over their opponents as they gain points and move on this week of the Forge Pro League.